Okay, so this is gonna be my review of the new Jason Bourne movie. Um, as far as the first three, I thought the first one was really good. That's the one I watched the most. I've seen the second one probably twice and the third one once. I think they're good movies, but there's just a lot of hyperkinetic editing and camera movement that just really kind of drives me insane. But the this fifth movie of the franchise, but the fourth one with Matt Damon, titled just simply Jason Bourne, I thought was okay. It didn't really bring anything new to the series itself, other than just a little bit of character development for Jason Bourne himself. But ultimately, it was a movie that just never seemed to want to settle down and rest and kind of let the audience try and catch up at all. It was just kind of all over the place, and that was true as far as the story and the writing and the characters and the camera shots. Everything was just all over the place. I mean, the camera was never ever still, and each shot was less than 3 seconds long. Uh, there was times where it's kind of hard to understand what was going as far as like the riot sequence. Some of those shots was a little iffy. Overall, I could for the most part tell what was going on. Unlike the second and third movie where sometimes I couldn't tell you which car was where or what. But this one was a little bit better in that aspect. But still overall everything was just this, and it just got too much. There's never a point where people could actually have a conversation and without me looking at the edges of the screen and just not being able to focus. And that to me was one of the biggest detractors from this. Two, I would say the side plot, the subplot of the social media company. Obviously, that was supposed to be Facebook, but and I really didn't even know what the social media was. They just kept on saying social media, social media. That just really distracted. And that made the Jason Bourne story itself way more thin than what it actually even was, because it was just him finding out a little bit about from his past, and I still don't know what he really found out, other than something with his dad being murdered. I don't know. The story was just really thin, and it just wasn't very interesting. I mean, none of the dialogue was interesting. Once again, and I see this way too much in movies where the characters literally tell you what's going on. I mean, there's a moment where just out of 100 times this is done, Tommy Lee Jones will be like, the briefcase is important. Those files are important. And it's like, well, duh, yeah, they're important. That's the whole point of this scene. It's just like, don't just sit here and give us throwaway lines like that. It's, it makes me feel like I'm watching a movie for people below my IQ, and that's the biggest problem with the movie. The story's all over the place, and the dialogue's terrible. The action, for the most part, is really good. There's some good stuff. It tends to go on a little long, about usually about 60 to 70% through each action scene. I kind of was just looking around and wondering when it was going to be over. Then I got back to it, and it was enjoyable enough. But nothing just really stood out for the movie to me, and I really cannot recommend it for that, because if I'm going to recommend a Jason Bourne movie, I'm going to definitely go with the first one, and I'll even go with the second and third one, because I know those were better as far as dialogue and story goes. But this one just seems maybe like it was rushed. Matt Damon does a good job, although he has really hardly nothing to work with. It's just okay. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but it didn't make me mad that I watched it. But yeah, that's it. I would say if there's nothing else on that you want to go see, it's an okay Sunday afternoon movie. But otherwise, I really cannot suggest it, because it's just not that good. If I was going to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably go with a 4 or 5, just because it's not terrible, but it's just not really that good. So that was my thoughts. Well, I guess we'll see what the next movie brings me. There's a couple of good movies out that's getting ready to come out. Like Sausage Party looks really funny, and I've been hearing really great things about it, and a couple of other movies. So well, I guess we'll just see what comes up next.